welcome back to Tao of Twang. I'm Dave. So we went right into the lesson here today with this 3-chord progression. And what I mean is I didn't do a separate intro piece and stuff. So I wanted to really take you through kind of going from the progression itself, that B, G sharp minor, E, back to that G sharp minor. Okay, so we're in B here, in this approach at least. So, you got the 1 chord, and the 6, okay, and then it's kind of up to the 4, and then back to the 6, if you want to look at it that way. So the reason I'm doing it this way is that I really want to use this lesson as a demonstration of using your triads to look for chord tones to involve in your improvisation, but also to kind of frame the zones that you're in, okay? And sort of in a caged type of way, but I'm not going to use tons of that terminology because it just gets so thick with this shape and then that shape. And I think maybe if we just kind of look at this calmly, and with sort of an easy tempo and groove here, you can really just do some exploring on your own. And that's my goal for you here today. So, B, okay, play it right there, play it. Okay, so the idea here is that we can stay in, one zone perhaps and find, those 3 chords and kind of do a hybrid bit of playing between the chords, the triads, and some other scale type sequences. But really staying in that visual space and that geometry of the triads. And then maybe connect a couple of locations like that, or regions, right? So I did some like, that's that G sharp, E, it goes back to the G sharp, sorry, for the final chord in the progression. So, and then up here, that's a B triad. Then you might not be as familiar with that shape. That's a good one to know because it a lot of times you'll be able to locate that one right in a position like that. So again, that's B, and then, okay, so that's kind of that extension of that kind of a D minor shape. Again, I don't like to make them overlap too much because this is G sharp minor. That's the root. Okay, and then E, of course, we're right there. So you see what we're getting at here? We've got a couple of different zones. We're going to break them down one at a time, but just a couple times through this with the backing track, and I'll show you just getting those triad positions under your fingers are going to set you up to, you're already improvising and you're not really even thinking about a scale or something, right? Go back to that minor chord, so then up here. Now, what's nice is then you're going to fall right into other things that you may already be familiar with, like your B major pentatonic. Right? Also serves you very well there as a G minor pentatonic, G sharp minor, sorry, pentatonic pattern, you know, for that chord. You don't really even have to distinguish between those because all that stuff's going to work right in there. And then the major scale notes for that B. Okay, that's the major scale, the diatonic scale. And then kind of, you know, doing some more bendy stuff and stuff with the pentatonic. Okay, so let's just stay in this fourth position here, we would call it, if our index finger's there. But using that, see how that's just taking that, those three strings out of that B bar chord. Okay, and that's going to set you right up to get into those bends and stuff too. But I really want you to stay focused as we go here on the triad shapes and how they all take place in this position. Here we go. I'll wait for it to come around. That's that last chord. Going back to the G. So B. Bit of a longer example there, but I was trying to stay in, you know, a moderate tempo there and really kind of make my finger movements real clear in there. Don't worry about trying to cop all that note for note, but that, you know, those three shapes, and then seeing that pentatonic scale and that diatonic overlays with that. That's what I mean by really understanding not just understanding, but physically putting to memory a position like that for something like this. All of these chords fit well into a really straightforward key study for B, so that helps, because sometimes, you know, that this in a lot of tunes the scales aren't that convenient or whatever. So that's okay. This will still help you get into those, you know, navigating those situations as well. But it's good to start with something where you have a high percentage, you know, of landing on good notes and stuff, right? So that's an example for that position. Now, if we go up here and kind of try to do the same thing, you know, we may not have as familiar of a overlapping, you know, pattern of scale that we've already memorized up here, but that's the challenge, right? And that's a good challenge because you want to listen, you want to use your ear in seeking out those notes as well. But we'll start with the same kind of idea. We'll just get 3 shapes. That's the G sharp minor, E, G sharp minor. And you know, check it with ear. Other position for that E. Okay, so now let me do what I said I was going to do and stay up here. Explored a little bit there on my own, and just kind of once I got comfortable with it, I was like, oh, this stuff's kind of tying together a little bit more. Again, these aren't specific licks, but just want to give you a little forward look at how you can embellish this stuff and make it more stylized and interesting. But you got to do the nuts and bolts work on this first, right? And just hanging out in those couple positions. And the first thing you can do to really start moving around and really stylizing it would be, come up with ways to kind of connect these two. So. So now you're working in a zone that involves these 2 places that you've worked out and kind of filling in between there with the chord tones and different slide moves and things, right? So we don't really play a solo just in one position normally. You could. And some players are so proficient at bending and using different kinds of dynamic techniques that they can make that sound a lot. You ever watch somebody play and you're like, man, their hand's not even moving. And all this stuff is coming out of the speaker. That's really kind of a more advanced levels of technique. This is something that we can all do at our own speed. And that's why I'm presenting it this way. And then I made a track, which is going to be your practice loop here, that I'll get you to in just a minute, that hopefully really lends itself, both in tempo and composition, to being able to rehearse these skills and not have to do a whole bunch of deciphering of what the chords are and stuff like that. So just in that couple of those demonstrations, I got up here and I was using some triads and some other positions. Well, that's where this leads to, right? That because there's anywhere on the neck, the concepts that we're talking about here can be employed, right? It's there. You just got to dig around and get a map for each one of those areas. But going back and forth between a couple of positions that are adjacent to one another, or that 5 or 6 fret range, that's a great goal for kind of beginning and intermediate improvisation, right? And staying in that kind of repetition at first really kind of helps you to really mortar in that muscle memory. So just another quick little demonstration. I'll get you to the practice loop. And there's some diagrams in the description section of the triad positions and stuff too. That's that last chord, it sounds like. Okay, now I had a few notes in there that weren't that great, right? So what I was doing just there was I was trying to really do what I'm asking you to do, right? I wasn't just playing stuff that I've already worked out and that I've done 100 times before. I was, really implementing those concepts. And when I got up here, I didn't really have a good map worked out yet. So I was really kind of, fishing it around. And if I landed on a bad note, I just correct it and try to keep going using my ear. So that's another concept that's important. It's a little more abstract, but put the practice loop on and, work out some stuff that you're real confident with. And then, let yourself go and start branching out in each direction and just kind of walk it down on one string and look for, it's either a half step or a whole step. One of those two is going to be the next good note, So that's kind of an axiom that you can rely on. Let me know how you do with this. Appreciate you. Look forward to talking to you soon.